Okay, now let's discuss about what is discourse and ideology in this meeting 2 and meeting 3. Ideology is a specific set of beliefs and assumptions that people have in things like what is good and bad, what is right and wrong, and what is normal and abnormal. In the discourse analysis, when we analyze the text, there will be what author believes or some assume for one of topic. So it cannot be said that ideology or the text itself is natural nor free from assumption of the writer. So in the text we are going to meet or encounter that the text has always a certain assumptions or prejudices or even the specific view of something from the authors. How texts promote ideology? We will focus on four things. The first one, the way authors create versions of reality based on their choices of words and how they combine words together. The way authors construct certain kinds of relationship between themselves and their readers. The third, the ways authors appropriate words of other people and how they represent those words. Number 4, the way authors of text draw upon and reinforce the larger systems of belief and knowledge that govern what counts as right or wrong, goods or bads, and normal or abnormal in particular society. For example, when you read the text about war and terror or terrorism attack from the Western newspapers, maybe it will have really certain views on the war terror, but it will have different ideas when we talk about the gender in the human culture or in the feminism view or maybe in the generalist view or the environmental view. It will have different purposes, so the authors have their own interests when they are dealing with one topic. They try to influence others based on their views of the word, or you can say the ideology. Who doing what? The linguist Michael Halliday, 1994, pointed out that whenever we use language, we are always doing three things at once. The first one, we are in some way representing the word called ideational function of language. So it deals with the ideas of the words that can be reflected in the language, like if you are supporting one topic or maybe you are rejecting one topic, the language can be really different. Number 2, we are creating, ratifying or negotiating our relationship with the people with whom we are communicating, called the interpersonal function of language. So when it is dealing with the emotional language, and then when we want to familiarize the topic and then try to have personal relationship with the readers and others and etc. Number 3, we are joining sentences and ideas together in the particular ways to form cohesive and coherent text, called the textual function of the language. All of these functions play a role in the way a text promotes a particular ideology or worldview. Remember, when we deal with the text, there will be the purpose of the text that we are reading. For example, if we read newspaper, there will be the purpose of the text is to inform the readers, and for narrative, the purpose is to entertain the readers. Additional function, textual function, and interpersonal function are related with each others. So for the relationship of each others, we construct relationship through words we choose to express things like certainty and obligation, known as the system of modality in a language. The traditional priest, for example, typically says, "You may not kiss the bride," rather than "kiss the bride." Yeah. So we are in this one. We are dealing with the context of the language. Yeah. Or maybe the formality of the language. Intertextuality in the relationship text create with other texts. Intertextuality is another important way ideologies are promoted in the discourse. All texts involve some degree of intertextuality. We cannot speak or write, he argues, without borrowing the words and ideas of other people. Okay, so when writers want to discuss one topic, usually they will find out references of the topic that the previous authors have already written. So it is called intertextuality. The cultural models. Cultural models are a set of expectations that we have about how different kinds of people should behave and communicate in different situations. They serve an important role in helping us make sense of text and situations that we encounter in our lives. "You may not kiss the bride" then doesn't just enforce a theory about how brides and grooms are supposed to act during a marriage ceremony, but also invokes broader theories about marriage, gender relations, love, sex, morality, and economics. So when the priest say you may now kiss the bride, it will be the formality of the word that you are no longer single, but you are already married. So it is like you are doing the next step of the life by saying this one. All of these theories are part of system discourse, which we might call the discourse of marriage. So after marriage, the husband will have a broader responsible instead like no like sorry. So the husband will have the broader responsible to his wife, including about their his economics, morality, and other things. Discourses can exert a tremendous power over us by creating constraints regarding how certain things can be talked about and what counts as knowledge in particular context. Yeah. Spoken discourse. In many ways, speech is not so different from writing. When we speak, they also produce different kinds of genres, use different kinds of social languages, also promote particular versions of reality or ideologies, but there are some ways in which speech is very different from writing. Speech is more interactive. Speech tends to be more transient and spontaneous than writing. So when you write something, you can still revise what you have already written, but in speaking, or maybe in impromptu speaking or speech, you cannot revise what you have already spoken out. You may say, "Oh, I'm sorry," and you may say like, "Oh, that's not what I say," for example, like that. Number 3, while some genres like formal speeches and lectures are planned, most casual conversation is just made up as we go along. Speech tends to be less explicit than writing. Speech is also usually takes place in some kind of physical context. Okay, so the task from this meeting is you can analyze the genre and the ideology of the writers that are provided in meeting 2 and meeting 3. You can analyze and then also give comments to this YouTube video. Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.